Hi loves, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you how I ended up doing what I'm doing as a result of the pandemic and my pandemic story and my journey with what happened to me during the start of the pandemic, where I was, what I was doing, and how what I was doing drastically shifted due to the events of everything happening the way that it did. So to give you a little bit of backstory into me and what I've done in the history of my life and all the jobs that I've had, I'm a manifesting generator in Human Design, also a 1-3 profile. So I learn very much through trial and error, through doing and learning, making mistakes, failing, to really see what works for me, and to know through trial and error and falling on my face what works and what doesn't. Reset. So, about 7 years ago, I made a life-changing decision to move from my small hometown of Concord, North Carolina. I was going to college at the time in South Carolina and was going to move back to North Carolina, to my hometown, to pursue the rest of my schooling there, because I was paying out-of-state tuition and putting myself into student loan debt. And I decided all of a sudden I want to move to Boulder, Colorado, and go to school for neuroscience, because the University of Colorado in Boulder was one of the only ones at the time that had neuroscience as a major and something I could choose as an area of study for myself. It was something I was really interested in and still am to this day, and how our brains work and how we work psychologically as humans. I was super interested in it and wanted to pursue that as an area of study. So I moved to Colorado with the intention of getting in-state tuition. I was going to take a year off from school and work and get in-state tuition and then go back to school the following year. All of that changed course over the result of this 1 year that I had lived in Colorado and moved there and lived there and worked. I realized it wasn't as easy as I thought to get in-state tuition at the age that I was 20 at the time. And so I got defeated. I gave up hope, and I chose to drop out of college and pursue another track. I had decided to work and take a job at Whole Foods, a health food store at the time, and was putting a lot of my energy into moving up there and moving up in the company and taking on leadership positions and doing as much as I could there to really move up and to climb the corporate ladder, so to speak, there at Whole Foods. And I had been interested in health and food, and I went vegan when I moved to Colorado, so it was just something that seemed really natural for me to do, was to put myself into a career where I could focus on health and food and help people do the same. So I worked at Whole Foods in leadership for about 4 years, and over time I started to realize, like, this isn't what I want to do. Like, cashiering kind of sucks, like dealing with customers kind of sucks, dealing with so many people and managing a team of over 100 that I was at the time was just a lot of energy and a lot of work, and I would leave work and go home every day feeling exhausted and burnt out, and my days off would be spent resting and recovering, and I really didn't have that much time to myself, and I just hated it. I hated having to adhere to this schedule and having to adhere to the needs of someone else's schedule and what was needed of me from a corporation and from a company that I love to work with, but it just wasn't right for me as in terms of me needing freedom. I have a Sagittarius moon, so I need freedom. I need to be able to do what I want when I want. And I just got to the point where I was like, this isn't giving me that, so I need to find other options. And I was really interested in health and fitness, and I started a workout program and chose to become a workout coach, a fitness coach, an online health coach, and teach people nutrition and fitness and help them to overcome their blocks around losing weight or gaining muscle. And so this started to become my full-time thing, and eventually I quit Whole Foods and pursued this health and fitness coaching business full-time. And I also had a lot of side jobs because it wasn't supporting me, but I didn't want to be a subject to someone else's schedule anymore. I wanted to live on my own schedule and my own time, and so I really committed myself to finding other ways to make money, to finding other ways to work. And so I did this for about 1.5 years, and I was, like I said, taking on side jobs, taking on part-time jobs where I could get just cash and get money to support myself and my bills and everything that my other business wasn't bringing in for me. And at the time of the pandemic, my coaching business was declining. I wasn't getting as many clients. It wasn't supporting me in the ways that I needed. And so I had taken on this job working crystal shows, working gem shows all around the country of the U.S. and traveling around to different states, different parts of the U.S. to work these shows and help a company from India that made crystal jewelry. And they had offered me a full-time position, salary, cushy job with traveling with them every week and working shows for them and getting paid a certain amount of money every week, sustainable. It was cash. And it was easy. It was something I love to do. I love to learn about crystals and to work with crystals. So it was something that I was like, oh yeah, I love this. And I'm going to take this position because it seems like a great opportunity and I really need the money. I need to be able to support myself. And at the time I was living with a friend in Colorado and wasn't paying rent. I wasn't able to pay rent. I didn't have a car. And I just felt like this was the only option I have. So I decided to work for them. The next week, the pandemic happened and all of the gem shows I was scheduled to work got canceled and all the flights got canceled. No one was going anywhere. Everything started to be shut down. And the family that I was living with and staying with and was moving, and they asked me to move out because they were about to move houses, and they asked me to get my own place. And I really became fearful. I became really, all my old triggers and everything came up for me to really look at and deal with, of like, do you really have faith? Do you really trust that everything's working out for your highest good? Do you really trust that things will work out for you even if you don't know how right now, even if you don't physically see how in your reality? And luckily I had some help from my family to be able to move into my own place, and I ended up subleasing a room in a 3-bedroom house from a woman that had to move out because of the pandemic. So it all worked out, and I ended up being able to afford and get myself a living situation. Still didn't have a car at this point, but it was fine because I was living in Boulder downtown, where everything was walkable, luckily. So, and then I had started doing, I've been reading birth charts for friends and everyone I meet for as long as I can remember, the past 3 to 4 years pretty consistently. And so people started to ask me to do readings for them. I also at this time invested in a tarot deck for myself, and luckily was getting unemployment like most people at this time. And I had invested in a tarot deck for myself and just started to do readings for my friends and just like randomly send them to them. And then they wanted to pay me, and people started to ask me for readings and how they could pay me for readings. And so I started the cogs started turning, the wheels started turning in my brain of like, oh, I could turn this into a business. Like I can make money from this. And it wasn't even something I like expected or intended, like had a conscious intention around doing. It just kind of fell into my lap, and it happened because of everything that had led up to that moment, and me just really following my joy and following what was fun for me, which was doing readings for people, blending the tarot readings and with a birth chart reading, and really just like having fun with it and really exploring my newfound passion for these things in a new way, and incorporating tarot. Because astrology is something I've been well versed in, but tarot was kind of new to me, so it was really exciting to learn and to get feedback from the people I was doing readings for, of like, oh, this resonated with me so much, like how did you know that this was going on? Like everything you said resonated completely, and it just really inspired me. It was like, wow, there's actually like something to this, and like gave me hope, like I can do this, like I'm good at this, and it's something I can charge for and help people with in a really big way and be of service, which is something I've always felt called to do. So that is how I began to do astrology and tarot readings, and that is what led me eventually to starting Understand Astrology, which is the website that I created back in September of 2020 to help people understand their astrology. And I really dedicated my whole heart and time to this, and to putting energy into this, and really helping people understand astrology at a basic level. And it was just fun for me. It was just something I loved to do. And so you can read more about this story and how Understand Astrology began and started on my website and my blog. I have the full story on there, so I won't go into it too much in this video, but that's kind of how I ended up doing what I'm doing now, through the events that happened during the pandemic, and really through people asking me to do these things for them and asking them how they could pay me for it. And I started to ask myself, what do I really want to do? What kind of readings do I really want to offer? How do I want to help people? What do I want to charge? What do I want to make? What feels good to me to be supported in what I'm creating and what I'm putting out into the world? And I was also working working with a healer at the time, and she gave me a lot of hope and inspiration and belief in myself and confidence in what I'm doing, and that I have the knowledge that people need to be shared with them, and that I can be of service in a really big way and activate the energies in people's charts to really give them something to take action on and to really embody through learning about their chart. You know, it's one thing to just know that your moon is in Sagittarius and it means you need freedom, and it's another thing to really act on that and to embody that and to know how to show up with that energy in your life and what that looks like for you and what your needs are based on that. So yeah, that's my pandemic story. Thanks for watching and being interested in what I have to share. It's really amazing how everything has turned out for me, and I just share this with the intention that this inspires hope in you, that you can do anything you put your mind to if you just follow your joy and follow what excites you and lights you up, especially if you're a manifesting generator or a generator in human design. Doing what lights you up and doing what feels good and really following your chart, following your unique design can really help you get there, and knowing what that looks like, knowing how to embody that, knowing how to take action on that, and there in turn knowing how to make decisions. People asking me to do readings for them with something to respond to, which is my authority as a sacral manifesting generator. It's my decision-making process to respond to people that come to me for things, and that is really how I learned to follow my design, and to follow alignment and to be where I am now and to manifest and create all the things that I have created for myself through this and through following my design and my astrology. It's really taught me how I'm meant to operate, how I'm meant to show up in this world in my best self and with the most alignment, with the most ease and grace, and really following the callings of what comes to me, and really listening and allowing and trusting and surrendering, and have faith that it's all working out for some greater purpose that I can't always see in the moment. So that is my story. Thanks again for listening to me, and for being here, for supporting me. I love you, and until next time, go follow your heart.